moment, evacuation, is ongoing. Sometimes it stops, sometimes it gets resumed. It depends on the weather there because it's winter, it's snowing season in Tirah. So, this is what the situation at the moment is. Total of, I believe, 19,000 families are going to be evacuated from Tirah. Um, it's probably, it'll take a few more days, um, depending obviously on the weather. But this is what is happening now. What warranted this situation is a different thing altogether because we all know that this thing has been going on for a few months. The military and the, uh, security forces or law enforcement agencies have been considering launching a limited military operation in Tirah Valley because militants had infiltrated from Afghanistan into Tirah and different groups. Lashkar Islam, which is native to Khyber tribal district, had infiltrated. Then it was followed by other militant groups, Jamaatul Harar, and then Hafiz Gul Bahadur, whose group was operating in North Waziristan, had branched out and formed an alliance with Lashkar Islam to expand its network from North Waziristan into Khyber. And why Gulbadir wanted to branch out to Khyber is because Tirah overlooks the plains of Bara, which is sub-district of Khyber tribal district, and Bara is next to Peshawar. So whatever happens in, if security, has security implications for Peshawar. So that was the reason why, the military and wanted to launch an operation there. The provincial government, was very concerned about the situation in developing in Tirah. And then, there were reports coming in that ISK, the Islamic State of Khorasan, had established a base there in Tirah as well. And one of the attacks, the suicide bombing, which occurred in Peshawar probably somewhere in May 2025, had all its links to Tirah. So it was becoming a very a security nightmare for the law enforcement and for the intelligence and military people. Well, as I said, this has been going on for a few months. Everybody was on board. The provincial government was on board. Not this chief minister, the one before him. He was fully on board, and the provincial government is not just the political leadership of the chief minister. Obviously, the political leadership provides policy guidelines, but it is the bureaucracy which implements those decisions. So, the district administration, the provincial government, the bureaucracy conducted negotiations with the local tribes in Tirah. There was a 25 member local Jirga which conducted these negotiations with the authorities and reached an agreement on the way, on the commencement date, the cutoff date for evacuation of the people from Tirah, and the running expenses, compensation in the event of them going back to their areas, compensation for any damages to their properties. So everything was sorted out and the agreement was done. And it was after that that the repatriation began. I don't think it was avoidable because had this been the case, there would have been collateral damage, and that was the reason why the authorities had given three options to the tribe, like they did in the case of Bajor. The tribes were asked either to persuade the militants to leave the area or take up arms. The second option was to take up arms against the militants. And if they can't, for some reason, one reason or the other, if they can't take up arms and use force to flush out militants, they should leave the area and allow the security forces to carry out an operation and clear the area of the militants. So in Bajor, like in Bajor, in Tirah also, the people really had no choice. They tried to negotiate with the militants. They refused to leave. Then, the government asked them to take up arms and force the militants out. They declined. So the third obvious, option was for them to leave. So that was that. Now, why did this happen? I think, because the negotiations, the Jirga deliberations took a lot of time. B, nobody had foreseen. I think it was not configured into the scheme of things. Nobody had imagined that this situation would develop, the weather conditions would get worsened so quickly and so soon. Although November, December is the time when there usually snow in up in the mountain or the mountainous areas. But this time, the weather pattern obviously has changed, and it started snowing in January. So this was something they nobody had captured for, and obviously because it was a sudden wave of people, the local tribesmen who wanted to leave, and the authorities were poorly placed to look after them. The registration took a lot of time. The weather conditions were bad. So it was largely due to mismanagement, I would say. I think the bigger, larger question is what happens next. This would be the second time that there will be military operation or limited operation or whatever you may want to call it in Tirah, and the fifth time in Khyber tribal districts. And this is probably the same is the case in other tribal areas also. There have been operations there, people were displaced, and they were allowed to return. And we have been going through this cycle over and over again. And this is why there's a lot of frustration. People are exasperated, they are tired, they are exhausted. It's not easy leaving their homes every time there is an issue. And this is why people ask the same question over and over again. What next for them? What are the guarantees that once they go back, they leave their homes and then they go back, the militants would not return, or the security forces will take full control of the area? So that's one question that looms everywhere in the tribal areas where there have been military operations in the past.